Today I'm gonna show you how to make dark melodic R&B beats for Drake, whoever you want to make it for. This beat came out crazy, so without further ado, let's just get right into it. So I'm gonna just play the beat real quick. Alright, so as y'all can see, this is absolutely insane. So let me just break it down real quick, and I might actually also add some counter melodies with you guys. Real quick, this is from an analog bank, and this is from the Utopia analog bank. And I actually used 2 layers on this. I used the water level preset and the vibe out preset. And the MIDI that we chose was MIDI 11 from the Moonstellar kit, and it sounds like this. Now that's just the water level. We can also put on vibe out, and it sounds like this. Now my favorite part about vibe out is the fact that each note will play a different instrument. So if I were to play C5 just a couple times, you guys will hear that it actually plays a different sound. So of course it's gonna make your beats a lot more vibey, a lot more melodic. Now the real magic is when you add them together, and it sounds like this. Now I did add an EQ just to EQ out the low end, but without it, it sounds like this. Pretty much full. But of course I want to add my own bass, so I EQ'd it a little bit. And I believed I added a portal, but I guess I didn't. So let me just add that real quick. What's a Moonstellar Porta Bank? Absolutely insane. Next up, we added another layer, and this is actually a bell from the One Shot collection, and I went with memory. Now you guys will be wondering why the loop points are turned on. This is because I want to make the bell last forever, so essentially like a key or pad. Now the best way to make any one shot last forever, so the first thing you want to do is make sure you have loop points on, and then with the length, just make it a little short. The length doesn't really matter too much. The main thing is the crossfade. As you see the red lines here, this is when it will loop back with the red line. So it's going to play the whole one shot, and it's going to loop back at these red lines, and it's going to continuously loop forever. So you want to essentially find a good sweet spot where you can loop forever without it sounding a little bit too harsh. So you just want to bring the crossfade up, and then you'll see how it's going to be sort of like morphine slash bending with the audio. And that's essentially what you're going to be looking for. And then all you do is just play it and then tweak it a little bit just to find a good sweet spot. And there you go, you have any one shot that can last forever. Of course, now I have Porto here, and I did remove a little bit of the lows and highs. And in Porto I have Planet X from the Moontopia Porta Bank, and I have it with these presets here. And without Porto, it sounds like this. But if you want to add a character, then of course add the Porta Bank. It sounds like this. Now next up, I started off with this like counter melody kind of, sort of like a little pad. Now next up, I added a counter melody and ended up choosing a key called wind. Now of course I did the exact same thing that you saw me implement on the bell onto the key to make it last longer. And then I added a portal, of course, you know, portal fire. And I went to the Nibiru preset. Now all these presets I cater to the one shots, so all you essentially gotta do is just add portal onto any of the one shots, and you're set. And especially if you mess around with the knobs, you guys can really create some really beautiful sounding melodies. And so after all that, it sounds like this. Now when you add Porto, it adds that character, you know, that essence. So far all 3 of the melodies combined, it sounds like this. I did add like some vocals, but that was just mainly for fun. This is from Cymatics. Now first off, this vocal chop right here, and it's from a cymatics vocal. All I did was just chop up one piece of it and essentially just added grow speed to it, or kickstart. The original vocals sounds like this, but I just wanted that first note, of course. And then I also took another vocal from cymatics and I went with the sunshine vocal. Like, clearly I didn't want to use all of that. I just wanted to use this one stagnant note that they had, which is perfect for one shots, so you can actually essentially create a chord with it. And all I did was just bring it into sampler, and the length knob, all I literally did was just bring it all the way down and just put the crossfade all the way up, of course, and it sounds like this. And all I did was just went with this pattern here. Now, of course, what made it 20 times better was the Portal presets. You know, all this was just carried by Portal. And I went with the Venice, and I went with the Venice. I don't even know how to pronounce the presets, honestly. Now, I did not mention this in the intro, but I'm actually on a 157 BPM. But next up on that texture and tension building, we went up with some perk loops. Now, when I tell you that the perk loops from Moonstellar are crazy, I'm telling you they're crazy. Like, just check some of them out. This is actually a perk loop that I use in here, which is called slow time. And all I did was just make it shorter, of course, so it's a little bit faster. Pretty simple. And then I went with Sponder. Now, of course, both of those textures combined. But the main component of this is the 808s and the drums, man. Alright, so real quick, these drums are actually from Utopia, which is a big multi-kit with an analog bank, Portal presets, drum kit, phrases, starters, accents, crazy. Not to mention that the 808s alone in this kit are crazy. Now, the first two 808s that I went with is Truth, which is like a powerful sound, and then I went with this, one of my favorite 808 styles. I honestly debating for a while to not have this in the kit, but it's called Yaya, and man, check this out. Like, that one is just crazy. Just so this is a simple pattern I went with. I first started out with Yaya. It's literally just an octave. It's just one octave, one up to down. And then from there, that's literally the only time I play it. The rest is the Truth, and then it's pretty much a simple, you know, pattern. Just chopped is really just the rhythm that you see within here. And then this right here, all I did was just go one up an octave, so it adds that tension at the end. And then right here, just have a little stutter. Especially when you add these shortcuts, that adds like a lot of tension, especially before the impact. It's all together sounds like this. The next up, we got the drums, and the drums are pretty simple, especially if you got the Utopia kit, my boys. First off, we're gonna start with the snare, you know, just a basic snare, simple. And then we got the clap. Now this clap right here, this clap is essentially like a little accent clap, just giving it that little. I went with this hi-hat MIDI. This is from the Chicago. I spelled Chicago wrong, but it's called Chicago. And I also went with the hi-hat MIDI 5. And literally all I did was just remove a little bit of these here, so there's a little space, or there's a little room to breathe. And also I brought it up 2 cents, so it can be a little more snappier. Next up, I went with the open hat. I went with 2 open hats. You know, pretty simple. Just going with you know, simple pattern here, one at the start and then one at the end. And I got the perks here, a good amount of perks in here with this non, and I also went with the shishi, which is sort of like a shaker. And then I got this pattern right here. It's pretty simple, honestly, and that's pretty much it. All right, that's essentially it, my boys. Hope y'all learned something new. If you guys want to check out Utopia Moonstellar, you guys can down below. There is a big sale going on for 4th of July, so if you guys have time, make sure you guys check that out. Also got some free multi-kits and sample packs down below if you guys want to check them. And yeah, essentially it. See you boys in the next one. Deuce.